Welcome back to the ESL India Premiership. I'm your host Aditya, and joining me in the studio is Angela. And it's about time for your game.
Yeah.
But before that, I would like to mention our special partners, Omen by HP, HyperX, Intel, and all of this brought to you by Nordwind Gaming and ESL. And yeah, so back to the serious stuff,
Yes.
DOTA. And today's game, by the way, folks, is Entity. Sorry, wow. Not Entity, it's Akatsuki versus Reckoning Esports. And should we just start looking at the teams, actually?
Yeah, sure. Let's see what Akatsuki is all about.
Yeah, so let's see Akatsuki, please. So that's the Nepalese team, Akatsuki, for
Yes.
you. How are they doing in the Premiership right
they're
now?
doing fine. They're sitting 7th on the leaderboard. Very different gameplay coming in there from 2017 to 2018. I mean, I've known them to be the 5v5 team who just likes to take fights together. But in 2018, they have completely changed their gameplay. They've gotten very versatile. They're trying to understand all the different teams they're playing against, getting more innovative with their picks, and I'm hoping to see them if they make it to the land finale.
Okay. Let's take a look at Reckoning Esports, who are team number 2 in this game. So that's Reckoning Esports from Pune. And finally, their fans can watch this stream since Vagish is gone. There is no Vagish. Vagish is on vacation. So your boycott ends today. But yeah, I mean, we cleared out all that mess with Reckoning Esports, to be honest. And it was just a misunderstanding at the end of the day.
It happens.
Apologies were exchanged. And, you know, it's good. It's good. Drama in esports is always good because thoda masala to banta hai.
Banta hai.
Yes.
Well,
but what about Reckoning Esports?
Well,
How are they
talking
doing?
about Reckoning Esports, as of now, they sit 4th on the leaderboard. They had a revenge victory against the sister team, Reckoning Infinity, very recently. And they're looking very strong coming into the ESL India Premiership. If they do win this, they would go to the 3rd spot on the leaderboard. And we would be seeing them definitely on the land finale.
I see. Yeah, I was actually talking to you about this, right? Who do you think the top 4 are going to be in the Masters? I know it's early days. I know it's only day 15 or might be 16. I've got my days jumbled up. But yeah, like, who do you think are going to be the top 4?
I mean, we have the obvious names coming in there. Signify definitely going to be make it to the land finale. We have ROG Titans looking very, very strong. They've not yet faced a loss, and I think the only loss they're going to really face is going to be against Signify. Apart from that, I don't see ROG losing any. I mean, these two teams, to be more, not to kind of put down the other teams, they just have boot camps, right? They have been practicing a lot. They have some of the best people teaching them, and they work together very well. They're all veterans of the esports industry. Now, when we talk about the 3rd and the 4th, there's a tie between Team Buriza, Reckoning Esports, Reckoning Infinity. All these 3 teams keep coming back and proving that, you know, they just get better and better with every passing game. And talking about, again, Team Buriza and Reckoning, they've always had a change in roster. And now when you talk about change in rosters, it takes a little time to kind of get used to the new players. It takes a little time to get used to a league format. So I see these 2 teams also, or 3 teams, as a matter of fact, only from India, coming into the land finale. Now, if we talk about Akatsuki, brilliant performances in 2017. They always have this habit of fighting back and coming in stronger, much needed by them. And we have another team from Mangalore. They're called the Kalis, and they've also been performing pretty well. I like the way they choose their heroes, very versatile picks. And I think if all these teams just kind of read and understand what their opponents are all about, we could see a very tough competition coming in.
Okay, but do you have any standout players in Akatsuki or Reckoning? I'm not sure if the draft is ready. We will head to that once it is ready. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about DOTA.
If I have to talk about Akatsuki, I mean, Madara, he is the captain of the team. He plays carry normally, but in the previous matchup that he had, he went mid with the Queen of Pain and sent Dreamy into the safe lane playing the carry role. Now, Madara never really does this because Akatsuki in general are completely surrounded by their captain. Whatever the captain says, how the captain moves, the team just segregates themselves accordingly. So I can see that because this is change in role from Madra to the mid, I could see maybe the calls coming in more for Dreamy. Of course, this did not really work out for them in a large matchup, but Axel and Itachi, every single game, they're just proving themselves over and over again. We see amazing rotations coming in there from Itachi. We see Axel, even though he's an offlaner, he comes to the mid lane, he takes a few ganks over there. He tries to make that required space, and it's very systematic gameplay, and I think that is what makes me support Akatsuki quite a bit, because even though they are not a team that comes from a country where you have a full-fledged esports thing, they always make sure that they're there on time, they always make sure that they've understood their opponents, and they're always trying to get better with every single passing game. And I really commend this team to be in the ESL India Premiership. But talking about Reckoning Esports, I think all their players fare really well. Dot in specific, I like his gameplay quite a bit. He's getting I think he's the one who makes the calls in the team, because he seems to have a lot of understanding on his opponents. He, I think, does the homework and the analyst desk for the team itself. If we talk about their gameplay in general, I'm hoping to see whether Reckoning Esports continues with their Terrorblade Pitlord combination. They like to split push and end the game on a very early note. They don't like to really take games to 20 minutes, but I mean about 20 minutes. But Akatsuki is a strong competitor to beat for Reckoning Esports, and I know as of now Akatsuki sits 7th on the leaderboard compared to Reckoning Esports, who sit at 4th. But I still feel that this is going to be one of those games that go on for about 45 minutes. Yeah.
That does it. Like, I think the draft is up now.
Yes. All right. So
What
on the
happened to
bans
our
from
hey production? What happened to our pretty
They're
overlay?
keeping
I
very
guess
active on their Facebook
Okay,
page. This
I
is
guess
nice.
all right. So talking about the bans and the picks in this game, we have Pang, Razor,
Like
Omni Knight, and Oni getting banned out of there by Reckoning Esports. In reply to that from Team Akatsuki, we have the Lich getting a ban, the KOTL, and the Tinker, and the
I'm
Monkey
muting
King
my
going to
mic
get a
while I'm
ban there,
going
which
AFK.
gives us options. The Akatsuki are going to pick up with the Juggernaut and Shadow Shaman. Good combination coming in there in the safe lane for Akatsuki. If that is Madara playing the Juggernaut, they are in very safe hands. Reckoning Esports replied to that with the Tiny and Sand King. Sand King, of course, being one of the favorites in this meta, also in the ESL India Premiership. More quick bans coming in there. Viper gets a ban. There's going to be a tough mid opponent against him, and Akatsuki looking to take their last ban on the watch. For now, they're going to be a little careful over here. Reckoning Esports, they have a variety of picks that they like to work with. We're going to either see Akatsuki deciding to ban out the Pitlord, even the Earthshaker is a little risky to give, even the Razor, as a matter of fact. If they do send the Razor in the mid lane, it could be a little chaotic for them. Going to take some time. We did see Akatsuki, like I mentioned before, they like to play the Queen of Pain mid. They like to also play the Death Prophet, so one of those heroes also could get a ban here.
Are these the standard meta bans, or are there any respect bans coming out? Like, if Akatsuki knows that Reckoning Esports has a specific player who likes playing that, and they're basically scared of him on that hero.
It could be maybe Reckoning does not want the KOTL, because it's not even more for the ban of, they don't like to play against the KOTL.
Okay,
They
it's not
hate
a
playing
it's
it.
not respect.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
mean, they normally pick the KOTL, but since they are not taking it, they are opting to go for another pick. They're like, we don't want to play against the KOTL. It must be kind of destroying the pick that they want to take, so they're just going to give it a ban and not worry about it. But the Queen of Pain gets a ban there from Team Akatsuki. That also says that they do not really want to play with a lot of split potential coming in there from Reckoning Esports after the Queen of Pain reaches level 6. For now, Reckoning Esports taking time with that third pick of theirs. They do still have to pick up their secondary support. That's going to mostly be a Tiny off lane unless they send him in the safe lane as carry, but I doubt that. So if the Tiny is going off lane, we got to see another support. It could be the Disruptor, it could be the Witch Doctor. We could also see a Jukiro. They do like to play the Jukiro quite a bit. But it's going to be an Ancient Apparition coming in there from Reckoning Esports. Beautiful pickup. I mean, since you don't know this hero, I will tell you a little bit about him. He kind of cancels out any kind of buff that is on you, and for a particular duration of time. So whether you once he sends you an ulti and it hits you, of course it does damage on touch. It also, if you're using a heal pot or a mana pot right after that, it is completely disregard it. It will not work on you. So this kind of hero works well against Alchemists, Terrorblade, heroes like that. That also shows that Akatsuki cannot pick up a Terrorblade, cannot pick up something that could be very dangerous. But Akatsuki, for now, going to pick up that Pit Lord, one of their favorites as of now in the offlane, mostly going to be played by Axel, if I am not wrong. He's, I think, going to play the Pit Lord. He's a very versatile player on the Pit Lord. He's going to make sure that Akatsuki maybe finish this game in the early hours rather than taking it too late. This also gives an opening to see that whether they are going to go with an Earth Spirit to take care of the mid lane, and the Shadow Shaman is going to stay in lane and get those level ups. Is he going to be ganking a lot? If the Shadow Shaman is played by Itachi, he's going to be ganking a lot because that's how he's made. But I have my fingertips saying that they're going to pick up a Night Stalker. So for now, they're going to take some time. And Reckoning Esports still looking to pick their mid laner and their carry if it's not the Tiny. They got to be real careful with this one. They are pretty fine for now, but killing the Pit Lord, they need that burst coming in from a particular player. Alright, so for now we do see a little bit more time on this clock. They could opt to go for the Templar Assassin mid. Reckoning has played that before. They also like to play the Razor. So if they're looking to pick the Razor, that could also be a good option for them. A Razor or even a Gyrocopter mid with a Tiny in the safe lane carry, that's a good option.
While the draft has disappeared from our screen, it's actually a good thing, you know, right now what you could make this is one of those the international noob streams, you know, the learning streams.
Yeah.
That's what I started watching Dota with, and I still have not learned anything. But I know it's a really nice game, by the way, and I know it's a very spectator-friendly sport, but it's just not for me.
I think this is the first time you've said something good about Dota too.
Yes, I've been instructed that as the product head of the ESL India Premiership, I cannot diss my games. No, that's not true. But the thing is, I do respect the players and the esport itself. That's the fact that it's an esport and the fact that so many players love the game, right?
Yeah.
They can't be all wrong. And there's another pick coming in, a Death Prophet. You were saying, in fact, that you might see one.
Reckoning Esports going to make sure that their mid is very safe. Death Prophet being a beautiful mid, works well with the Sand King, works well with the Ancient. I think they could end this job beautifully with the carry Void, unless it gets banned by Team Akatsuki. They're very much set in their self. But Team Akatsuki, seeing that Death Prophet, they got to take some burst, but they're going to opt to go for the Kunkka. Now, I haven't seen them play Kunkka after their very first game in the ESL India Premiership, and I was a little worried whether they're ever going to opt to play the Kunkka again. But this also kind of tells me that it's Shadow Shaman who's going to be on a 5th role. We have I think Itachi who's going to be on that Kunkka. Lots of gangs coming in the mid lane. So I would say that, yeah, this is either going to be an OD, if OD isn't banned. OD is banned, so it's going to be a Templar Assassin, or I think even a Gyro would fit in, but they would get too greedy. I think Akatsuki cannot take that risk as for now. But 2 bans still waiting on the clock before they go for their final pickups. Reckoning Esports got to be a little careful about who they want to pair the Death Prophet against. They could opt to ban out the Puck as of now. Has been a little devastating in the early few games, but they're going to ban out the Gyro. I don't think Akatsuki would have gone because it would have been too greedy a pick for them. But a good ban coming in there from Reckoning Esports. We'd rather ban it than play against it. Makes a lot of sense.
How is this ban going on right now? Is there a clear draft winner, so to speak? Like, do you think anyone's ahead on the draft right now?
I think Reckoning Esports have a draft that could is a much safer draft. So because they have an Ancient Apparition who's basically going to nullify whoever comes against him, and they are looking to take 5v5 fights, while Team Akatsuki are looking. They just want to split push and finish this game, because if they decide to go with the Terrorblade, which I doubt, if they go for somebody mid against the Death Prophet like the Razor or something like that, there's a lot of tower damage coming in from the Shadow Shaman and him. But they could also, at this matter of fact, go on with some other hero. They're going to go with the Invoker. I love that pickup. I love that pickup. That also somewhere I'm hoping that it's going to be either Dreamy or Madra on that Invoker. Now, for those people who don't know how devastating an Invoker, a good Invoker player can be, Invoker is the kind of hero that has 7 to 8 spells. You basically just got to know.
He's an intel hero, right? Yeah, where you can switch his powers. So
definitely, he kind of can play any role. I mean, sorry, any kind of combination that's brought to him. He also works fairly well against DP. He can opt to go for the Exhort. He could also opt to go for a normal Coswex build, because then basically Reckoning Esports is sitting without any mana if he uses the EMP and the Tornado at the right time. It all comes down to if the player can actually play the hero to full potential. And with that, Akatsuki finished their draft, and Reckoning Esports going to complete theirs with the Void. A much expected pick coming in there from them. And looking at the drafts itself, I would say Reckoning Esports has this game in the bag if they are able to contain the Invoker and the Pit Lord. But if they are going to be taking this not 5v5 but a split push of 3+2, I would take it that Akatsuki have got a better opening to the matchup.
All right, good to know. I mean, if the casters are ready, I think we could probably just go straight into the game
Yeah.
instead of hearing me ramble on about something I don't know much about. I'm sure Angela's spoken a lot of sense, although it doesn't make sense to me.
It's okay, it's fine, it's all
But
right.
yeah, I think Vivek and Floki are ready for us. So we're going to go straight into the game and please enjoy.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the ESL India Premiership. This is the summer season. We got Akatsuki facing off versus Reckoning Esports. My name is Vivek. With me is Floki. And I just want to point one thing out. Floki,
Yep.
did you see who's doing the draft for Reckoning?
I did not. Who was it? Was it Dot?
And what position is Dot playing?
He's playing the Faceless Void, so I'm guessing he's position 1.
Yeah, not too many one positions doing the draft nowadays. Across the world, there are.
EE drafts to Fnatic. That's
Yeah.
one position 1 that I know.
That's it. And there was burning back then when IG won DAC last year, but generally not too many one positions doing the draft. There are anomalies, but yeah, it's refreshing to see one position leading the team. I think the other team in the ESL India Premiership, which kind of works in a similar manner, is the ROG Titans. So you got A35 doing the draft, and he's their offlaner, which is also unusual, but yeah.
Okay.
Things
I
getting
mean,
switched up here and there, but one thing that hasn't changed is Akatsuki. I mean, they were
Yep.
starting to look
are you
really
watching
good.
bottom?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Axel is gonna end up dying. I really don't know what the plan was.
I think he tried to get a ward down, but he wasn't successful in doing so.
He had an observer ward, but he didn't plant it.
I mean, he didn't want to plant in front of him because it'd get dewarded right away, and
Let's get this
looks like
farce over
Akatsuki
with.
are gonna find 2 runes only. Let's talk a bit about this mid lane matchup. This TP against the Invoker. The Invoker is okay against the DP. It's not too bad, it's not too good either. It's something that draws even with the DP, but as the levels start jumping, I mean, as soon as you start getting levels on Invoker, he's gonna get more points into Exhaust. So when this Invoker hits like level 4, level 5 and has those 2 to 3 points in Exert, he's gonna be outlasting this TP by a big margin. And that's when you hope that you get those rotations in to sort of shut
Really?
down the Invoker.
I was thinking that the DP would start applying pressure onto the Invoker.
I mean, yeah,
Just
early
keep
on that's
pushing the
what DP
wave,
does.
force the Invoker to last it under the tower. If nothing else, you got Spirit Siphon.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean, I
ASE is
think-
doing in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think this lane is going to boil down to support rotations, really.
Yeah.
I don't think this matchup goes either way, and after all, the mid lane isn't anymore a solo affair. Yeah,
I agree. Little surprised he isn't flying out the Salvate. Okay, he is. No, wait, he's flying himself out some Tango, so he's gonna be hoping for the Quest region to kick in, but...
Dreamy
might-
flying out tangos?
Yeah, not
Okay.
too sure about that, in all honesty, but... Okay. Don't really expect to get killed by the Death Prophet unless you do something extremely stupid.
Right. And it's just, it's like the Crypt Storm every now and then, so
Yeah, I'm a little...
I think the tangos could do the trick.
I'm a little concerned for this Tiny in the top lane because he doesn't have ways of surviving this Shadow Shaman and Kunkka combination being thrown at him. You have really long lockdown with both of these heroes on your side.
Yep.
Kunkka, he has a 1.6 second stun followed by a 1.6 second slow. Okay, no, it's 1.7 seconds, but close enough. So it's almost nearly 4.5 to 5 seconds of lockdown at level 1. That's pretty big. Even a tanky hero like Tiny can die because he doesn't have a lot of armor and definitely
Absolutely.
doesn't have an insane amount of HP. I mean, he has decent actually. He's on 900 HP, but he's still gonna fall though if he's not careful.
Yeah. He's probably gonna look to get that stake to leech as much EXP as possible.
Oh, look at mid lane though.
Yeah, Zafito just chilling with that Invis rune, looking for Dreamy. It isn't going to be an easy kill, but they're going to try. The Split Siphon is there, Bosch trying to follow. They've got one Crypt Storm, 2 points in it. But Dreamy is going to be okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. Has the tangos to heal him back up, and now those exhaust points are gonna start kicking in. So hopefully you should be seeing Dreamy do a lot better. This TP is still pushing in the wave, so that's applying a lot of pressure, but she should be out of mana pretty soon.
Yeah, I think the way most Invokers are played is like as long as you get that Midas from your lane around the 9-10 minute mark, you just go AFK in the jungle and whatever, do your thing. And then maybe with that acceptor, you're asking some serious questions in these team fights that might come through for Akatsuki in the mid game.
Oh, bottom lane on the lot.
Yeah, there's action down bottom and top. Axel, the cold feet will proc the time lock.
Top
Coming
lane.
in just in favor of the wire, but up top. Tiny does end up falling. So both offlaners fall. The difference was Zafito did move up top, and even then they couldn't do enough to keep that Tiny alive.
Yeah, Zafito is crucial for these tanking to get those early game rotations, because if you don't, then you're gonna be delayed a lot on your blink. And
Right.
a hero like a position for Sand King doesn't farm too well. Top lane
They
once again.
might get the Shaman. The Torrent holds back the Tiny. August does pop those one charges. The toss is there. August keeping his distance with that Winlace, but Wolfhav, he's picked up a 3 and he'll toss it onto the Shaman. They got the X marks the spot onto the Tiny though. They'll pull him back. Madara doesn't have the Blade Fury. Nice 2-man burst like the Sunstrike coming through. Wolfhav dropping low. Not enough points in Exor to bring him down. The TP being cancelled. Wolfhav leading Akatsuki in a wild goose chase as he tosses back Madara. At the end of it all, they get a Shaman, they don't lose anything. So I think Reckoning are going to be okay with that one.
Yeah, and he got the full healing salve off as well, so he's gonna be able to stand in lane a bit more and get some XP. Sick play by Wolfhav surviving that gank there.
Yep. Problem is Axel is getting a fair amount out of his lane as well.
But just as you say that though.
Yeah, he's got to be cautious. He does ensure that the cold feet doesn't proc. Turns around, drops the bit of malice, but Dot wants to chase. He's got 3 points in the time lock and he's got the damage along with the cold feet to find the Underlord.
Those two bashes, man. Actor is not gonna be happy about that. When was the last time you got bashed twice in a row by a level 5 Void?
I think it happened even the previous time when he ended up falling. The bashes are just flowing for Dot here on the Void.
Yeah. He sprayed 2 RNGs yesterday before sleeping. It's paying off. Mid lane though, the Invoker is starting to draw even in terms of last hits. It's got up to 20 now. Has the Aquila as well as the Wand, so survivability is good for this Invoker. He's starting to run low on mana, so that might be a problem. He needs around 230 mana to be able to invoke and Ghost Walk away from a fight.
Hey, he's got the Aquila. I guess he'll be ferrying out clarities every now and then.
Yeah. Okay, he needs 260 mana, which he has, and he has 1 charge, so he's fine. But the Underlord is
Wait,
bit
260 mana for what?
260 mana for the Coast Walk and the Invoke, because you gotta invoke the Coast Walk if you haven't already.
Doesn't have a point in Vex. How's he gonna?
I mean, in case he has to.
Okay. In case he has to. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Underlord is a bit of an awkward position here. He's not managed to find a lot of farm and he's rotating towards mid. With a level 1 root, it's not much.
Akatsuki do this a lot. They make their offlaner move mid. And this time with the haste rune, it might pay off. TPs are coming in. Split siphon onto Zafito. Walks to the mid lane, but the bit of malice is there. Sunstrike will clip the Dead Prophet and ASD will fall the burrow. Does control Remy, but Zafito without the Sandstorm might end up falling. Shaman with the shackles, with the control. Setting up for a double kill onto that Invoker. Akatsuki just throwing numbers in the mid lane and it pays off.
Yeah, the good old run into you kind of DOTA. What Akatsuki is infamous for. They do it on the Night Stalker, this time they do it on the Kunkka and the Shaman. The Kunkka has level 3 now. He was starting to fall behind in levels with that sort of little skirmish there in the mid lane. Made sure that he has a bunch of levels to deal with. This Chuck isn't doing too well in the top lane. I mean, he's doing okay. He has an Aquila and boots 7 minutes in, but ideally you want to be much closer to your face boots than this Chuck is at the moment.
Yep.
Hasn't died a single time, hasn't
but I think now with the Blade Fury and his Omni Slash, he has kill potential. Speaking of kill potential, at mid, Kronos here committed for Dreamy, and with the Cryptstorm, they'll take away his killing spree.
Yeah, that's a crucial rotation. That Invoker is starting to pull ahead, and looks like this Invoker is not going to be going for the Midas. He has cured the Treads, so it's going to be a rather tanky, hard to bring down Invoker with the Treads and Axe. Although the problem with that build is you often end up lacking mobility. because you don't have points in Vex and your move speed as Invoker is pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
Very
Akatsuki moved a bunch of heroes mid. Reckoning is their turn to movement. They've got Axel with the power strike. First damage though to bring down that Underlord. Just not there, and Axel even being patient, trying to refill. Wait, was he trying to refill his own bottle?
I mean, I think so. I guess that would explain why he was standing there, but it's funny. They tried to kill the Underlord. He ate an avalanche and he might end up dying here now.
Yeah, they've got the power strike and the cold feet. They sit on the high ground. Good movement coming up from the supports on the side of Reckoning. Recognizing the fact that the Underlord is running a bottle, might want those bounty runes. They go and they wait at the Underlord's bounty rune, and now they're moving mid. Dreamy, controlled by the silence. Even if he did have that mana for the Ghost Walk, he doesn't have the point in Vex, and he's gonna end up falling.
Yeah. This is sort of where you wish you had that extra point in Vex, but good support players will always keep us against the Invoker.
Top Wolfav.
Yeah, he's just gonna throw some harass damage out towards the Shaman. Has to be careful though, this Chuck can actually turn with the Omni Slash and the Blade Fury.
Absolutely, there's certainly kill potential now, but here comes the feeder. Just to ensure that Wolfav is okay.
Can we show the network shots for a moment, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so looks like at the moment the supports of Akatsuki are doing slightly worse, I want to say, again, compared to the supports of Reckoning.
Wait, what are you saying? The Kunkka has more net worth than the Sand King?
It's not much, to be honest, and Kunkka doesn't... I don't know, man. Kunkka doesn't feel like the hero does with farm. Yeah, that's the kind of problem.
That's true, but up top, Madara might find a solo kill for himself. He does have the Omni Slash. He's chasing. He has it. The Sunstrike not even needed. August holding the Tiny in place with the shackles. Madara looks to turn on to the Tiny. The Hex is there.
I mean, status resistance, man. Only Tiny has it now. Oh yeah. Dot.
Down
bottom. The Underlord once again.
They do end up finding the Underlord.
Wait, they didn't even expand Chronosphere. That was a free kill.
Yeah, and Dot might actually just commit the Chrono. It's for the Kunkka. He's got the treads and the Quarterstaff. He might find the kill. The Torrent will control Dot, but there comes the Ancient Apparition. Finds himself the last hit. And I think that ward is being pinged out. I'm not sure. Either way, Reckoning, pop a smoke and start moving towards the mid lane.
Oh, I'm not sure about this.
It's been a really action-packed laning phase coming up from Reckoning, and they might find Dreamy. Dreamy does put that point into Vex just as that gank took place, but the silence coming through from ASD was more than enough to control him, and it is the 10-minute mark. The siege creep is there. They'll commit the exorcism. What are Akatsuki doing at this time?
Well, Akatsuki, they really need to hit level 6 on the heroes. That's when they can start fighting again. Invoker's moderately farmed. He has his shreds, he has his Aquila and stuff, so he has his stat items, which means he can fight if needed. But he wants to be farming at this point, so you really hope to move around with your two supports and your Juggernaut and sort of make space on the map for the Invoker to catch up. And this Invoker can certainly catch up now that he has the point in Vex. He's going to be able to pop Alacrity, use a Force Fit, and just farm Ancients if needed.
I honestly felt that he should have prioritized the Midas. I got that. Ancient Apparition whiffing on the Ice Blast. That would have been a solo kill for him. But I think he's the one who's going to end up falling. Shackles
he's gonna
in a Sunstrike. They get the Ancient Apparition, but look at Reckoning. They're finding a tier 1 tower. Always finding the better trades, and Dot is here as well. Doesn't have the Chronosphere.
Yeah, they're waiting for this Kunkka to hit level 6. But all these heroes here, I don't think he's gonna get enough XP. There's too much shared XP. But this wave he might though.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, he is.
Maybe. Yeah, he got it. And he's chasing. He's chasing to catch anyone from the side of Reckoning, but the Sand King keeps his distance.
Oh, but they have Chronosphere up in 20, but the star's gonna fall.
Yeah. I think that's okay. I don't think Reckoning were in a decent enough position to really defend that tier 1. They're just gonna give it up. It is space for the Red Prophet. And look at this. Dot ends the feeder. Immediately get something else done across the map. They walk through mid, there's smoke dispels, and Dreamy is gonna run away. Dot chasing actually has the Chrono. Zafito does have the epicenter, but he's just going for the power strike instead, and that's more than enough. 369 TP's in, Torrent into X marks the spot, but here's the Dead Prophet. has the split siphon, and Dot with that Mask of Madness just running down the Kunkka, finds the kill, and looking towards the Shaman, who's held the Death Prophet in place, but the Ice Blast coming through, and Dot finds himself a Mega Kill. Madara TP's on the Shrine, pops it, but the silence is there, and the burst damage with the Tiny. They'll find the Juggernaut as well. It's all going south for Akatsuki as Axel channels the Dark Rift, but ends up falling.
They're just going in one by one, that's the problem there. You can't just go in one by one, waltz in against heroes like SK, Ancient Apparition. I mean, all of these heroes, they have some form of disable. You have Cold Feet on Apparition, you have Pyro Strike on Sand King, Death Prophet has a soft disable in the Silence, Tiny has Avalanche. You really shouldn't be going in one by one. You sort of jump a hero, preferably the Death Prophet if you have the damage, bring her down and then take the fight from there on onwards. Akatsuki really need to stay ahead on this lineup to be able to do anything. They don't have the best comeback mechanics in my opinion. They certainly don't have good wave clear. Underlord is decent, I'd say, but you look at the team fight of Reckoning and you look at the team fight of Akatsuki. Akatsuki is just pale in comparison. They're not that team fighting kind of a lineup
I
that
think
you'd hope
I think
them to
there
be.
is team fight on both sides. It's just that
Reckoning's team fight is a lot better, to be honest. You have Pyro Strike, you have Epicenter, you have Ice Blast, Ice Vortex. I mean, these spells are really, really good in team fights. You just drop a single Ice Vortex in the middle of a team fight, and whichever heroes it hits, they're gonna take 15% extra magic damage. And this is not magic amplification, mind you, this is magic resistance reduction. So it doesn't really get all that weird spell, that weird match that you have with magic amplification and magic reduction.
right.
Reckoning they're claiming all the outer towers and need to try and hold on to some of these tier 2s. They
I
can't
think
give up all of them.
Akatsuki should, probably fight for a tier 2, otherwise it's give up your tier 2s and fight at Roshan, and if you don't fight at Roshan, it's fight at a high ground. They've got choices to make. Getting picked off though is not the best choice for them at this moment.
Oh, Underlord.
Yeah, Underlord, he's gonna end up falling. I want to see Akatsuki probably pop a smoke, because it's almost certain that... Okay. No, they don't even have that window, because Reckoning are just grouping up and they're pushing for the tier 2. They're controlling the Dire Shrine. Zafito just walks up like a boss, and without any detection, Akatsuki can't really punish that Sand King.
I mean, Reckoning, all they're doing right now is that they're four-manning together, and at this point in the game, the team fight is much better than Akatsuki's. You have the Chronosphere into Epicenter, you also have the Exorcism, so you can't fight into that lineup. It's very, very difficult to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, Chronosphere, Exorcism, someone's gonna die. For sure.
It's
Underlord's
partly
not
the
tanky
team
enough.
fight, and it's partly because the cores on the side of Akatsuki are so underfarmed, right? I mean, sure,
Yeah.
Madara has a Yasha, but Invoker doesn't want to
Invoker,
fight. He's the one who's constantly getting picked off here. Dot even getting a Shadow Blade down. When you got the Epicenter coming through, they'll find the Shaman Zafito, making that work without the Blink Dagger, but World Fab. He's got a Blink Dagger of his own, has the Avalanche to control the Kunkka. Dot walks in, the damage is there, they find themselves the Kunkka. And I said this 2 minutes ago, either Akatsuki fight at the tier 2s or Roshan, or just wait patiently at the high ground. And Madara nearly gets his TP cancelled. Did he actually tried to Blade Fury TP, but his Blade Fury ran out.
Yeah, that was super close. But okay.
Yeah, if it was the Sand King who TP'd there first instead of the Void, Madara might have ended up falling.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I've been following Akatsuki. I saw them throughout last year, and I honestly felt that they were in this really rough place at the beginning of last year, but towards the end of the year they became so good. They became really good, and
I mean,
it
somehow
feels
lost
like
all
they've...
that momentum in all honesty.
Hmm?
It seems like they've lost all that momentum in all
Yeah,
honesty.
I
Is
don't
that
know what
you're
the
trying to say?
issue is. I don't know if they're not playing daily back home. I'm not really sure, but it feels like all that progress has gone to waste. Because towards the end of last year, they were looking like one of the better teams.
I mean, you need to have strong in-game leadership to win these kind of games. You just can't rely on pure skill and hope to just outplay opponents. It's
Right.
not gonna happen in the
And
ESL and the
Akatsuki
Premiership.
wasn't... I mean, the good thing about Akatsuki was it was never raw skill that won them the game. It was good Dota as a team, and that's missing. They've lost what made them so unique last year, and I hope they find it.
Oh,
It's
it's a
only
feeder.
the summer season,
Mandalot.
and yeah, Axel, he's looking to TP out, but the Ice Blast is there. The Caustic securing the kill for Safido.
Yeah, that was a really good play by the Ancient Apparition too. He dropped the Ice Vortex, guess where
vision.
the Underlord was, yep.
Yeah, World
That
Fab
enabled the Auto Strike.
making plays himself, finds the Kunkka and an Invis rune, but they are controlling the Tiny, and once again, Akatsuki then no position to take fights.
Now Invoker has to run.
Yeah. I think at this stage, Akatsuki have to either not die
Top lane.
or up top Madara, Blade Furies into the Chronosphere. So
Okay.
either Akatsuki have to not die or find pickoffs. They're not doing either. They're dying and they're not finding pickoffs, and the farm that this Invoker is getting is going to be meaningless.
I agree.
18 minutes in, he's got a point booster. Even if he gets his Ags in the next 20 minutes,
Top lane.
it doesn't amount to much. They're looking for a pickoff. They want Dot. The taunt in the boat does connect to the Void, but Void doesn't give a damn. Ice Blast coming through, doesn't clip on any. The Sunstrike though might be enough for Dot. Barely gets the time walk off, and on the backline, Safido, Epicenter, onto a punch, and looking to bring down 369 with the Sandstorm. He'll find the kill. That Prophet just holding the ground. Dreamy will end up falling. Tiny doing most of the heavy lifting. There was the Invoker. They clean up and they're searching for Axel as well. They've got the Split Siphon and with the Solar Crest. I mean, sure, he's got the Vanguard, but it was that
just
Force
got
Staff
the
that kept
Force
him
Staff.
alive, and
Yeah.
it seems as if Reckoning are just going for the finish here.
Dot's itemization as well this game. He's going back with the Battle Fury, a bit unnecessary in my opinion. Can also still transition to Linken's if he wants. I think that's the better choice here.
Yeah.
Because really the only thing that's killing him is Shadow Shaman or Kunkka.
I
He's
actually
trying not to
like
lose.
Dot's itemization. He's like, guys, I've made a Shadow Blade, I've found all these pickoffs, we know we have a lead, but just in case this game goes late, I want to be able to scale.
Yep.
I don't mind it. I think he's thinking 2 steps ahead, and not really sure what the Kunkka was thinking. That TP'd onto his own shrine. They might find the Ancient Apparition though. Madara committing the
Oh,
Omni
God.
Slash, they'll find the Ancient Apparition, but that's it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Madara playing offlane for
No.
Akatsuki? He was always playing carry?
Dreamy always played mid.
Madara always played carry? Okay, never mind. I'm
I
just,
pretty
haven't been
certain it
keeping
was
up.
Dreamy who was always mid, and I think Madara always played carry.
Okay.
I could be
Sweet.
mistaken.
Okay. Nah, it's probably on me. I haven't been keeping up with the ESL India Premiership for the past few days. Had my exams going, so. There's a bit of a problem here, but Akatsuki might be in a pickle.
They might find Zafido. Got the X marks the spot in the taunt, but Zafido just blinks forward, has the Battle Strike, does control the Kunkka. They're trying to run down 369, but they'll chase forward for someone else, and it is the Invoker. Dot absolutely are off the mark with that Chronosphere, but they'll still find the kill.
Okay, I know what happened there. I'll just explain
They're
that.
going to
Dot-
find more though. They've tossed back the Underlord, the Cold Feet is there, they've got the Avalanche, and they're making up for it.
Yeah. That was not a misclick, guys. That was just a bad mana Chronosphere there. Just wanted to show them that he doesn't need Chronosphere to fight them.
And that was a bad manner toss back coming up from Wolfab as Zafido. Well, he tried to set up on the Kunkka, but it might be the Tiny who ends up falling. The Ice Blast is coming through. The Force Staff keeps the Invoker alive. Axel trying his best to keep Dreamy alive. The boat does clip onto the Tiny, but there's the Epicenter and the Bow Strike. Does clip the Kunkka, but it is the Dead Prophet. Controlled by the Shackles, held in the Pit of Malice. The taunt will follow. She's got the Yule Scepter. Akatsuki, they're converging upon ASD, and they'll finally bring him down. X marks the spot. Not sure on whom. I think it was on the Juggernaut.
They had to drop every single ultimate there to hold on to the tier 3 tower there. They
Yeah,
had
but
to drop
they've
certain
lost the
ones.
laner barracks up top. I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah, I think that was just Dot doing Dot things, and the creep wave was a bit too. Oh, never mind. The creep wave isn't dead. It was just Dot.
I think Dot just got across to the top lane, got himself a laner barracks.
Yeah, he got himself put the racks while he was just. While his team was doing the dirty work for him.
Yeah.
Making space.
Shaman, he's picked up his boots. 90 minutes in.
Oh, what the hell am I? Wait, what? How did I miss that? Oh my god.
It's...
It's a rough day at work for August. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that Akatsuki have been looking good at is general map control. They always try and get the D-wards going. You can see the map is scattered with sentries. Their base has a bunch of sentries plastered all over them.
I mean, that's sort of the problem, right? This faceless void buys the shadow blade, and suddenly you're forced to invest in a lot of detection of
Absolutely.
other side of Akatsuki. It really hurts your economy, especially when you're so far behind like this. You really don't want to be buying sentry wards for your team. You want to be picking up items like the blink, maybe a glimmer cape and Aether lens. Well, Reckoning do move into Roshan now. Should end up dropping fairly easily for them. Once this void has Aegis, and I don't think this Aegis is gonna go to the void, they can just march high ground. There's nothing really that's stopping them. Okay.
Yeah, Dot's got the Aegis. ASD has a BKB as well.
Yeah. I think they might wait the BKB, or they might just
They
go for
might find
top
the
lane.
Underlord. Axel looking for the Doctor.
He's gonna get out.
He's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Gotta love how Dark Rift is just a guaranteed TP. The only thing that can cancel it are 4 staffs, sort of. And,
I mean, you can't
yourself.
cancel the Underlord Doctor if you can prevent his teammates
Yeah,
from
you can
getting
prevent
out
his
of there.
teammates. I mean, that's what I mean, yeah.
4 staff,
My bad.
Walrus kick.
Oh yeah, Walrus kick. That's actually one of the more... I feel like that's one of the least thought about counters to Underlord ulti. The Walrus
Well,
kick.
Dot. Yeah, I got that. Just walks into the enemy high ground, gives away his Aegis. He's controlled by the Hex and the Shackles, and that's his godlike streak. Gone. 846 gold going towards Dreamy. He's got his Acceptor complete, but elsewhere, the Kunkka, not really sure what he was doing. He ends up getting picked off by the Tiny. If I were Akatsuki, I'd probably look to pop a smoke and go fight right away.
Well,
Even then, the
Akatsuki-
Void has buyback and Chrono, but this is honestly the best play that they can do right now.
I mean, Akatsuki, in all honesty, they don't really have the damage. Juggernaut does not have that much damage at this point. He has a maxed out blade tree, but even then, the only hero you can kill on the side of a Reckoning is this ancient apparition, and he's the one who's sitting on the back lines and is really hard to find. He also has a Glimmer Cape at the moment, so even he's going to be taking less magic damage. So Akatsuki have really limited options at the moment. You need the ultimate to be on Kunkka to be able to get a successful gank off. Or you need the Juggernaut ulti. With Invoker Sunstrike, maybe they can find a kill, but I'm
Yeah, I
still
mean,
not
Invoker does
too
a fair
sure.
amount of damage, right? With
Sunstrike, okay, let's just see how much damage the Sunstrike does at this moment. So,
I think around 550, 600 or something.
it does, yeah, I think it does
550?
around 550 damage with amplification.
With what?
With spell amplification.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean,
What?
they have that, but I'll have to hold
Anyway,
that thought.
they're
Mid
marching
lane.
up the high ground. Chilling touch upon the Dead Prophet. Zavita goes in. 2-man Pyro. Chrono on in 3. They're trying to bring down the Invoker. Dot trying to focus him down. The Ice Blast catches to Kunkka, as well as the Shaman end up falling in with a little bit of help from the Tiny. They'll bring down the Invoker. Dreamy buys back, looks to defend the Shaman, buys back as well. Axel walking forward. There's the Epicenter and the Pyro. They've got one. It is the Juggernaut. They'll burst him down. 51 seconds without the Juggernaut. And he doesn't have buyback. Akatsuki being pushed back into the tier 4s. The Sunstrike, it's gonna hit Zafito. I mean, at the least, they might end up getting a Sand King, but even that's denied as Wolfam walks ahead, picks off both supports. Zafito goes in, gets a Bow Strike. Dreamy, controlled by the Silence, run down by the Void, might be next. It has already been a dieback on the Kunkka and the Shaman. And even if they get something done, Akatsuki have lost another lane of barracks here. There is a Sunstrike. Doesn't end up clipping into anyone.
Yeah, nice attempt there by the Invoker, but he's not gonna get lucky today. Well, I mean, it's a 22k net worth advantage for Reckoning. I don't think Akatsuki are gonna come back from this. I don't want to say all is lost. You have your Invoker, and he can pull off some miracles for Akatsuki,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
gonna be difficult. It's
They're
gonna be a
gonna smoke.
mammoth task.
They're gonna
Well,
smoke and let's see. I mean,
This
you-
Death Prophet has 27 armor and 1.8k HP.
if you hold in place with the Shackles, maybe with the Omni Slash, they can.
You have the
They
2k
can.
though.
They've got the tornado. Shaman needs to close the gap, but there's the BKB. ASD looks to turn. Pyro want to do the avalanche is there. They'll try and bring down the Shaman. The Shaman will fall. The Ice Blast exclusively for the Invoker, who's been held in place with the Chrono. Omni Slash will bring down the Sand King, and Madara, along with his Underlord as well as the Kunkka, will get away. But they lost the Invoker, they lost the Shaman, both of whom do not have buyback, and they only found the Sand King. Dot, however, did commit his Chronosphere, and ASD, he's got the Exorcism coming off cooldown in a bit.
I mean, and once again, that was all ultimates counted from Akatsuki just to kill that one Sand King. When you're committing 3 ults to kill a Sand King, it shows just how good of a shape you are in at the moment.
Absolutely. ASD just running forward with the Exorcism. The X marks the spot is there, but ASD, he's got a Yule Scepter to just join the Torrent. Dot moves forward, drops the time dilation. He's a little out of position, and they've got detection. The X is there, Shackles to follow. They're trying to bring down this Void with the Avalanche. Controls the August. Void might end up falling, but he's got the Time Walk. They do,
Wait,
however, manage to bring up the Tiny. But all this while, ASD finds himself a tier 3 tower. He's got his VKB coming off cooldown. The Torrent just set up for Zafido to go in with that epicenter, bring down the Juggernaut. Zafido moves forward, brings down the healing ward. Invoker dropping the Deafening Blast and the Meteor, trying to do some work against the Sand King, but they fail. Zafido tries to dodge the boat, will be successful, but the EMP connects and the Shackles are there. Glimmer Cape buying him time, but not enough as Axel with the Firestorm gets the kill. But Reckoning, they've found another lane of melee barracks, and Dot still has his BKB. ASD running forward, Hex, Sunstrike, they might find the Dead Prophet, but they end up losing the Shaman, and Remy on the run. Dot just running him down. The Cryptstorm, along with the Ancient Apparition, doing more than enough to bring down the Invoker, and the Kunkka will fall as well. Dot dominating with the double kill. Underlord, the only line of defense, who's now trying to run down the Dead Prophet, and he's going to end up bringing down ASD.
Okay, Underlord's destroying his items at this moment, so I think this is game for... Okay, no wait. He went for the Ice play. Drop your items, see if you can cancel TPs. But they're not gonna bite, and they call GG.
Yeah.
Well, that was rather convincing by Reckoning. I don't think there was...
Happy Tihar?
I have no clue what that means. Well, to give some context, Tihar is a jail near Mumbai, but
I think they meant Tyohar, which is a festival in Hindi, but I don't know. Either way, the festivities are coming out in the Reckoning Esports Bootcamp.
Oh, definitely.
40-14, 30 minutes in, a 36,000 net worth advantage. It's been an absolutely dominating performance from them. And
Indeed.
after their loss to Signify earlier on, this is a big boost to their confidence. They're looking strong. They're looking like one of the better teams in the Masters League. But that's it as far as today's Dota 2 broadcast is concerned. My name is Vivek. With me was Floki. You can find us, like us, love us, hate us at facebook.com/VWWAK casting. Floki's at facebook.com/FlokiDota. And that's it from us for the Dota 2 game of the day. I'm going to throw it over to our panel, Angela and Adi. Love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Welcome back to the ESL India Premiership, and that was a thrashing.
Yeah.
Reckoning Esports, honestly, what did you have for breakfast, lunch, dinner today? Because they came out of the... what I gathered from this game, all right, was that they came straight out with a plan to push Akatsuki back, just keep taking those team fights and keep putting them down. And I also noticed one other thing, that the net worth lead was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was at 5K, then it went to 6K, then it was at 11K, then it was at 21K, and then it was at 26K at the end. There was never a point in this game where Akatsuki had a chance in hell to come back, basically. The Reckoning Esports made sure about that. And I think they played brilliantly, I think, as well. And you were saying earlier as well that the draft has gone towards Reckoning Esports in your favor. But, of course, there is one point to note that we didn't point out earlier. Akatsuki was playing with a substitute as well.
And that is kind of... actually, it's not even a substitute. So their player Itachi has left the team 2 days ago. And I think my whole analysis before this game started was that since Akatsuki has always been a 5-man, let's coordinate together, they don't mind really losing their tier 1 and tier 2. Basically, their goal throughout the game is that Itachi and Axel kind of make sure that Madra gets that time to get those basic items up and running. And once he kind of gets those items, they kind of just sink in as 5 together and destroy your opponent. But coming into this matchup, being a Masters League, being in the Master tier, you always will have drafts where, you know, one team looks stronger than the other, but it all comes down to the gameplay of each teammate in your team. And Reckoning Esports had that full on. They had the draft in head, they played it out wonderfully, and I'm going to give them points for that. But at the same time, the reason Akatsuki put on such a poor performance, one reason being is maybe the draft wasn't strong enough because they had a stand-in who literally did not know much about his role. Because at the early game, we did see that there were 3 ganks that happened in the mid lane to Dreamy, the Invoker. And being a support player, you always make sure that your mid lane is always warded. So whether a gank comes from the bottom or the top, your mid is secure. Now, that's the first fault Akatsuki really started off with. If they watch this game again, they will notice that it was the basic mistakes that they made that kind of makes you not want to be in the Masters League. Because there are certain things in the Masters League that you always see. They are the most prominent features of the game. But Akatsuki kind of missed that point. Maybe the reason being is this huge roster change they've had with Itachi leaving. Axel is kind of only sitting in the top lane. He didn't really even move to gank once, and that is very weird of them because it's never really been like that in the past few games that I watched about this team. Even last year, I mean, they're known to be that team that destroys. Like, even if they have played against teams that have been able to go tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, Akatsuki will show you their actual power because they're sinking as 5, and that was something that was completely missing out from this match. And coming to Reckoning Esports, I mean, Dot being the carry player, he was in ganks all around the map. I saw him going mid. Every time he had the chrono up and running, he was sure that he will get a kill. He didn't really have to worry about whether he even had a teammate with him. He had the chrono, so that was working out well for him. To sum it up, I mean, team synergy, great from Reckoning Esports. I felt at the 6-minute mark, even though Akatsuki could have, you know, not taken fights, they took unnecessary fights. Yep. Even though they knew that Reckoning Esports is going to thrash them and go to the tier 2, they still were a little confused. There was no coordination, and that's where
There's a bit of desperation in there as well, right?
Yeah,
like when you're so far back, even right in the start. Super was actually telling me while spectating that game that Reckoning Esports got slightly lucky in the start with their bash on one of their players. Like, it stuns, right, sometimes. And it was the hit from Kanka, I guess, or from the Void, yes. Sorry. So they got a little lucky in the start as well, and I think then eventually it just snowballed, right?
Yeah, and I mean, more than snowballing, I feel Madra being the captain of the team, he's always had this reliance on his other 2 players. That, okay, you know what, guys, I'm going to just do my job. I'm going to get that farm up and running for you all. You just hold the game for me. And I think in this game, the problem was because he couldn't really rely on anybody else to kind of make a call. He was kind of stuck off with the mindset that, hey, you know what, I know this game is not going well for us. Maybe if I'm able to get the farm, I'll be able to get back the game. So the synergy between Madra and the rest of his team was also not there. Yep. Normally, he's always there giving the call that, you know, okay, you know what, now is the time, let's go 5v5. But there was not a single time he could make that call. Within 16 minutes of the game, all their tier 2s had fallen. At about 20 minutes in the game, they were hitting tier 3, and Juggernaut really can't do much all alone against when you have a DP and Void and all that against you. So I wouldn't say that it was a very good day for Reckoning Esports. Yes, they played definitely well. They're supposed to play. They're in the Masters League. They're sitting on the top. But I feel it was more about Akatsuki not playing up to par that has brought down this loss. So I think with that...
we have Dot on the screen. You said that he had a standout performance as well. Do you want to speak about him a bit?
I think, first of all, because he being the carry of the team, he also gives a lot of calls. Secondly, he was very on point with his chronos. He either got one chrono on just one hero when he needed it at the early stages of the game. But if you talk about the later stages of the game, all his chronos had kind of 3 people in them. And
I also did notice, though, that he did miss 2 of those chronos, and he did chrono 2 of his teammates in. Like, he did lock 2 of his teammates in that trap. So, I mean, any closing words on this?
That's about it. I hope Akatsuki come back stronger. It's a little sad to hear that Itachi is no longer part of the roster. I mean, I had seen Akatsuki be that force that they've been from Nepal, and I hope they come back much stronger in the next match. They watch this game, as a matter of fact, and just see what the basic flaws they could have avoided to have a better outcome out of this match.
Yep, definitely. That's something we used to do when I was in Brutality as well. Always watch the games that you lose. I know it's difficult watching yourself lose all over again, but it really helps, guys. Like, you will fix your mistakes. But anyway, that's it from us today on the ESL India Premiership. Remember, we're brought to you by Omen by HP, HyperX, and Intel. And all of this produced by Nodwin Gaming and ESL. So hit the like button, subscribe, click the bell icon, everything. And tune in again every day, 6:30, well, 6:15 technically. And yeah, we'll sign off now.